The night started like any other, with me carefully picking out my suit and watching my wife dress up for the party. She seemed unusually excited, her smile wider, her perfume stronger, and her eyes filled with a sparkle I couldn't quite place. I thought maybe she was just happy to spend the evening out together, away from the routine of our lives. But as I'd later learn, her excitement had nothing to do with me. We arrived at the party, greeted warmly by friends and acquaintances. Laughter and music filled the air, and for a while, I allowed myself to enjoy it. My wife drifted through the crowd with confidence, mingling, laughing, and sipping her drink. I stayed close, but I noticed how she kept glancing toward a tall man across the room. At first, I dismissed it as casual curiosity. I told myself not to be paranoid. As the night went on, she became distant. Her hand slipped out of mine more often, her eyes darted around, and her laughter grew louder when she spoke to others. Then I saw it, the man she had been glancing at earlier now standing far too close, whispering into her ear. She didn't push him away, she leaned in, smiling in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in months. My stomach sank, but I kept my composure. By midnight, people were dancing, couples were swaying, and I couldn't find her by my side. I searched the hall, my chest tightening with each empty corner. Then I saw them, slipping out the back door together. Her hand brushed against his arm, and she didn't even look back. The shock froze me in place. My wife, the woman I trusted, had chosen another man in front of everyone. I could have caused a scene right then. I could have shouted, demanded answers, humiliated her publicly. But instead, I decided to stay silent. Anger burned within me, but I knew revenge was best served cold. I shook hands, smiled at a few friends, and quietly left the party alone, all the while planning what would come next. The drive home was a blur. Every memory of our years together replayed in my mind, the promises, the sacrifices, the nights I stayed late at work to build a future for us. And now, she had thrown it all away in one reckless decision. By the time I reached home, my sadness had hardened into something sharper. I would not beg for answers, nor would I cry. Instead, I would let her actions destroy her own world. I started by gathering every financial document, every shared account detail, and every important paper we owned. She had left me humiliated, but I would not leave her with the comfort of stability. I called a lawyer the next morning, and by the time she returned, sneaking in at dawn with her shoes in her hands and guilt on her face, I was already 2 steps ahead. She looked at me, perhaps expecting me to explode in rage. But I didn't. I calmly told her I knew where she had been and with whom. Her face paled, and she tried to stammer out excuses, but I silenced her with a single sentence, "The marriage is over." Her shock at my calmness was almost satisfying. Over the next few weeks, I watched her life unravel piece by piece. Mutual friends began to hear the story, not from me directly, but from the subtle truths I allowed to slip into conversations. She lost respect in the eyes of those she once bragged to. When the divorce papers arrived, she panicked, realizing the financial independence she had enjoyed was gone. The man she had left with that night, he disappeared quickly, leaving her with nothing but regret. She had gambled her marriage for a fleeting thrill, and in the end, she lost both. I never raised my voice, never begged, never pleaded. I simply removed myself and everything I had provided from her world. That silence hurt her more than anger ever could. I rebuilt my life slowly, focusing on my career, my health, and the friendships that truly mattered. Each step forward was another reminder that I didn't need her betrayal to define me. She, however, was left chasing shadows, trying to fix a reputation she had shattered with her own choices. Months later, I saw her by chance at a cafe. She looked smaller somehow, worn down, her eyes tired. She tried to smile at me, as if to open a door that no longer existed. I nodded politely but walked away, leaving her sitting in the wreckage she had created. My revenge wasn't loud or violent. It wasn't a single act of cruelty. It was the steady, deliberate act of letting her destroy herself while I moved forward stronger than before. And that, I realized, was the most satisfying revenge of all.